A brand new Nissan Qashqai costs £32,000. A Peugeot 3008 starts at around £35,000. A Volkswagen Tiguan will set you back £35,000 before you've even ticked a single option box. And the moment you drive any of them off the forecourt, you've just lost between £5,000 and £8,000. Gone, evaporated. That's not an opinion. That's what happens when new cars lose 15 to 35% of their value in year one alone, according to industry valuations from CAP HPi. Meanwhile, for £8,000 or less, you can buy a used car that's already taken the depreciation hit, costs half as much to insure, drinks half the fuel, and will probably outlast every single one of those overpriced SUVs. And mechanics across Europe know exactly which ones they are. Today, I'm going to show you 9 cars that cost under £8,000 but make £40,000 SUVs look like financial suicide. We're talking real numbers, insurance groups, fuel economy, repair bills, MOT pass rates. And by the end of this, you'll wonder why anyone is still signing up for 4 years of PCP payments on a car that's worth less than the finance balance before the first service. If this kind of straight-talking consumer advice is what you've come here for, hit that subscribe button now, because the automotive industry doesn't want you hearing what comes next. Let's start with the silent wallet killer. The single biggest cost of car ownership isn't fuel. It isn't insurance. It isn't even repairs. It's depreciation. And it's the cost nobody ever sees because it doesn't arrive as a bill through your letterbox. A £40,000 SUV loses approximately £16,000 to £24,000 in the first 3 years. That's according to industry standard depreciation data using the benchmark of 3 years and 36,000 miles. Some are worse. The Peugeot 3008 loses over 70% of its value in 3 years according to the Zotobi depreciation report. That £35,000 3008? Worth about £10,500 after 36 months. You've just spent £24,000 on the privilege of driving it. Now compare that to an £8,000 car. A vehicle that's already 5 to 8 years old has already absorbed the catastrophic early depreciation. You buy it for £8,000, you drive it for 3 years, sell it for £4,000 to £5,000. Your total depreciation cost? £3,000 to £4,000 maximum. Against the SUV buyer's 20+ thousand. That's not a marginal difference. That's the price of a family holiday every single year. Alright, let's get into the specific cars, and I want to be clear about the criteria here. Every car on this list can be found for £8,000 or less on the UK used market right now. Every one has demonstrably lower running costs than a comparable new SUV, and every one has the reliability data to back it up. Number 9. The 2017 to 2019 Suzuki Swift 1.0 Booster Jet. You can pick one up for between £5,000 and £7,000 with reasonable mileage. Insurance Group sits around $20,000 for the Turbo Booster Jet. That sounds high until you realize a Nissan Qashqai in anything above base spec climbs into the mid-20s, and the Swift costs half as much to buy, so your premium is still substantially lower in real money. If insurance is your priority, the non-turbo 1.2 dual jet sits in single-digit groups, but you lose some of the fun. Fuel economy on the booster jet is genuinely impressive. The 1.0 turbo returns around 50 to 55 miles per gallon in real-world driving. The Qashqai's 1.3 mild hybrid? More like 38 to 42 when you're actually driving it, not reading the brochure. But here's what really matters. The Swift weighs just over 900 kilograms. That's roughly 600 kilos less than a Qashqai. 600 kilograms of extra mass the Qashqai drags everywhere it goes. That means the Qashqai eats through brake pads faster, chews through tires quicker, and needs more fuel to haul itself every single mile. Suzuki's reliability record speaks for itself. Warranty Solutions Group data puts Suzuki at a 10.8% claim rate with an average repair cost of just £448. Try getting a Qashqai CVT gearbox fixed for that, which reports significant gearbox complaint rates for Nissan CVT-equipped models before 50,000 miles. A Swift owner at 50,000 miles is just getting warmed up. Number 8. The 2016 to 2019 Toyota Auris Hybrid. This is the car that taxi drivers across Europe stake their livelihoods on. And taxi drivers don't choose cars based on marketing campaigns. They choose cars based on which ones won't leave them stranded at 3 in the morning with a boot full of lost revenue. You'll find clean examples with 60 to 80,000 miles for £6,000 to £8,000. It's a full hybrid, so in town you're running on electric power a good chunk of the time. Real-world fuel economy sits around 55 to 65 miles per gallon depending on your driving style. Some owners doing primarily urban driving report even higher. Insurance groups start at 13. Road tax on pre-April 2017 models is 0 because the Auris Hybrid emits under 100 grams per kilometer, putting it in band A. Not low, actually 0. And Toyota's hybrid system has been running since 1997, nearly 30 years of refinement. There are Prius taxis in London with 400,000 miles on the original battery. This isn't experimental technology. This is the most proven powertrain in the automotive industry. Toyota's warranty claim sits at just 8.78% according to Warranty Solutions Group data, with an average repair cost of only £431. That's less than a single service at a BMW dealership. Now stack that against a £40,000 Volkswagen Tiguan. The Tiguan's 1.5 TSI returns about 40 miles per gallon on a good day, and that's being generous. On motorways, it drops to the mid-30s. Insurance starts at Group 17 and heads north quickly, and VW's DSG gearbox has a documented history of issues that would fill a separate video. The DQ200 dry clutch unit in particular has been a persistent headache, which data shows VW reliability has consistently lagged behind Toyota in every survey they've published in the last decade. You're paying twice the price for a car that's twice as likely to leave you with an unexpected repair bill. Number 7. The 2016 to 2018 Skoda Octavia 1.0 TSI. Now, I know what you're thinking. A 1-litre engine in a car this size? But that's exactly the point. Skoda didn't try to build a crossover pretending to be an adventure vehicle. They built a sensible car with more boot space than a Tiguan, more legroom than a Qashqai, and running costs that make SUV owners weep quietly into their PCP statements. The 1.0 TSI avoids the DSG gearbox problems because it's typically paired with a manual. Fuel economy is around 50 to 55 miles per gallon. Insurance starts at Group 9. For context, that's lower than a Dacia Duster, and you're getting a substantially bigger, better equipped car. The Octavia's boot is 590 litres. That's bigger than the Peugeot 3008 at 520 litres and the Qashqai at 504 litres. You're paying less for more space. The maths isn't complicated. And if you need even more room, the Octavia Estate is available within the same budget. 610 litres of boot space. That's more than a Volvo XC60, more than an Audi Q5, more than virtually any midsize SUV on sale today, for £7,000. Number 6. The 2015 to 2018 Mazda 3 2.0 Skyactiv. Mazda's naturally aspirated 2-litre engine is the antithesis of modern turbo downsizing. No turbo means no turbo failures, no intercooler leaks, no boost pressure sensors going haywire. It's a simple, efficient, reliable engine that returns around 42 to 48 miles per gallon without the complexity. The Mazda 3 is also one of the best driving cars in its class. While SUV drivers lean into every roundabout like they're on a cross-channel ferry, Mazda 3 owners are actually enjoying the drive to work. Insurance Group 16 to 20 depending on spec, which is comparable to many SUVs anyway. But the servicing costs are substantially lower because there's simply less to break. ADAC breakdown statistics from Germany consistently rank Mazda among the most reliable brands in Europe. Their annual breakdown reports show Mazda vehicles requiring roadside assistance at rates 30 to 40% lower than equivalent German models, and the interior materials are leagues ahead of the piano black scratching nightmare you'll find in most modern Volkswagens. One more thing on the Mazda, the interior materials on a 2017 Mazda 3 are genuinely better than what you'll find in a brand new Peugeot 3008 or Volkswagen Tiguan. Soft touch plastics where it matters, decent leather on higher specs, and physical controls for the climate system. 3 years old and it still feels more premium than a car costing 5 times as much. That's what happens when a manufacturer focuses on engineering rather than marketing budgets. Number 5. The 2017 to 2020 Hyundai i30 1.0 TGDi. This is Hyundai's quiet masterpiece. The i30 doesn't get the attention of the flashier Korean models, but it does something far more important. It just works, without draining your bank account. Under £8,000 gets you a car with remaining manufacturer warranty in some cases, because Hyundai's 5-year cover was genuinely generous. The 1.0 turbo returns around 45 to 50 miles per gallon. Insurance starts at Group 10, and Hyundai's parts pricing is substantially cheaper than German equivalents. A set of front brake pads for an i30 costs around £35. For a Tiguan, you're looking at £65 to £80 depending on supplier. But the real killer comparison is this. NimbleFins estimates the average annual running cost of a car in the UK at £3,484. For a small to medium hatchback, that figure drops considerably. For a new midsize SUV with finance payments, insurance, fuel and depreciation, you're easily looking at £6,000 to £8,000 per year. The i30 owner is saving £3,000 to £4,000 annually, every year, quietly, without posting about it on social media. Number 4. The 2014 to 2017 Honda Civic 1.8i VTEC. This is the 9th generation Civic, the last one Honda sold with a naturally aspirated engine in Europe. The 1.8-litre iVTEC is one of the most reliable powertrains ever fitted to a European market car. No turbo, no dual clutch gearbox disasters, no particulate filter to clog up on short journeys, just a well-engineered engine connected to a proper manual gearbox doing exactly what it was designed to do. If you see a 2018 Civic, that's the newer 10th generation with turbo engines. Good car, but a different animal entirely. Stick with the Mark 9 if you want the bulletproof naturally aspirated simplicity. You'll find clean Mark 9 examples for £5,000 to £7,000. Fuel economy is around 40 to 50 miles per gallon. Not the most frugal on the list, but the total cost of ownership is exceptionally low because these cars simply don't break. Which reader surveys consistently place Honda in the top 3 most reliable brands sold in the UK, and Honda's parts pricing is refreshingly honest. A full service on a 9th generation Civic at an independent garage runs about £180 to £220. The same service on a Volkswagen Tiguan? Expect to pay £280 to £350 depending on spec. And that's before the DSG service interval that VW conveniently doesn't mention in their marketing. The 9th gen Civic also has a party trick. That boot is enormous. The rear seats fold completely flat thanks to Honda's Magic Seat system, and the total cargo space rivals sub-estate cars. So when someone tells you they need an SUV for the space, ask them if you've actually measured their Qashqai's boot against a Civic. Number 3. The 2016 to 2019 Toyota Auris Hybrid. For pure city driving, nothing in the SUV world can touch this car on running costs. Nothing. Real-world fuel economy in urban driving is genuinely 60 to 70 miles per gallon. Some owners doing short commutes report breaking the 70 mile per gallon barrier regularly. Road tax on pre-April 2017 models is 0. Not low, 0. Not reduced, literally nothing. Insurance starts at Group 10. Servicing is straightforward and cheap because the hybrid system has no clutch, no starter motor, and no alternator to fail. And Toyota's hybrid system in the Yaris has a reliability record that borders on obscene. The 2016 to 2019 models regularly achieve MOT pass rates above 90% at their first test. According to DVSA data, these cars pass their MOT like it's a formality, because for Toyota, it largely is. A new Toyota Yaris Cross costs £26,000. It's essentially the same hybrid system and a jacked-up body with plastic cladding and worse fuel economy. You're paying an £18,000 premium for the privilege of sitting 3 inches higher and getting worse miles per gallon. If that sounds like value to you, I can't help you. Number 2. The 2015 to 2018 Ford Focus 1.0 EcoBoost 125. Now, before the comments explode, yes, I know about the engine issues. The early 1.0 3-cylinders from 2012 to 2014 had documented problems with coolant hose failures. The 2015 onwards models fixed that specific problem, but here's what you need to know. This engine uses a wet timing belt, meaning the belt runs in oil. If that belt degrades, fragments can block the oil pickup and kill the engine. It's not a guaranteed failure, but it is a known weakness. Have the belt changed at the correct interval, use the right oil specification, and check it's been done when buying used. Any mechanic worth their salt will tell you the same thing. With that maintenance done, the 125 horsepower version has a solid track record. For £6,000 to £7,000, you get a car that was genuinely the best handling hatchback in its class when new. The Focus drives better than cars costing 3 times as much. Fuel economy is around 48 to 55 miles per gallon. Insurance starts at Group 11, and Ford parts are among the cheapest and most widely available in the UK. Here's the comparison that hurts SUV buyers the most. The Focus has more rear legroom than a Range Rover Evoque. I'll say that again. A £6,000 Ford Focus gives your rear passengers more legroom than a vehicle that costs over £50,000 new. The Evoque sacrifices interior space for that swooping roofline that looks great in photos and is utterly useless in practice. Number 1. The 2015 to 2019 Škoda Superb 2.0 TDI manual. This is the car that makes the entire premium SUV market look absolutely ridiculous. For £7,000 to £8,000, you get a car that was designed to compete with the BMW 5 Series and Mercedes E-Class. The interior space is genuinely limousine-like. Rear legroom of 157mm of knee room. That's more than a Range Rover Sport. The boot is 625 litres or 1,760 litres with the seats folded in the estate version. That's bigger than virtually every SUV on sale today. The 2.0 TDI with the manual gearbox avoids the DSG issues and returns 55 to 65 miles per gallon. Insurance groups start at 16, and because Škoda shares its parts bin with Volkswagen, components are readily available and reasonably priced. You get VW Group engineering without the VW Group markup. A timing belt change on the Superb costs roughly the same as on a Passat, but the Superb gives you significantly more car for the money. TV inspection data from Germany, their equivalent of our MOT on steroids, shows the second-generation Superb performing well above average for its age class, particularly in suspension and brake component longevity. These were over-engineered for the original price point, which means at £7,000, you're getting engineering that was designed to justify a £28,000 price tag. But the killer number is depreciation. A Superb that cost £28,000 new in 2017 now sells for around £7,000. Someone else already paid £21,000 in depreciation for you. You get the exact same car, the exact same space, the exact same engineering for a quarter of the original price. Meanwhile, someone is signing a PCP agreement right now for a brand new Peugeot 3008 at £450 a month. Over 4 years, they'll pay £21,600 in monthly payments plus a deposit. And at the end of it, they won't even own the car. The Superb buyer paid $7,000 outright. No monthly payments, no balloon payments, no finance company owns their vehicle. Let me put the total picture together because this is where it gets genuinely shocking. 5-year cost of ownership for a new £40,000 SUV. Purchase depreciation, approximately £20,000. Insurance at roughly £700 a year, that's £3,500. Fuel at 10,000 miles per year at roughly 40 miles per gallon, around £7,500. Servicing and maintenance, approximately £3,000. Road tax at £195 per year, approximately £1,000. Total 5-year cost, around £35,000. Now the same calculation for an £8,000 used car. Purchase depreciation, approximately £3,000. Insurance at roughly £400 per year, that's £2,000. Fuel at 10,000 miles per year at roughly 55 miles per gallon, about £5,400. Servicing and maintenance, approximately £2,500. Road tax varies, but let's say £800 total. Total 5-year cost, around £13,700. The difference is £21,000 over 5 years. That's £4,000 a year, sitting in your pocket instead of evaporating into depreciation, insurance premiums, and fuel for an SUV that's no more practical than the cars on this list. Let me put that into perspective. £4,000 per year is a family holiday to Southern Europe. It's a new kitchen over 5 years. It's a significant chunk of a house deposit for your kids. And it's money that SUV owners are spending without realizing it, because the costs are hidden inside monthly PCP payments they've already normalized. According to NimbleFins, the average UK driver spends about £3,484 per year on running costs alone, not including the purchase price or finance. Add finance payments of £400 to £500 per month for a midsize SUV, and you're looking at over £8,000 per year before you've even changed the oil. An £8,000 car with no finance? Your entire annual motoring cost sits at around £2,700 to £3,000, less than £3,000 a year for everything. And before anyone says they need the ride height, the all-wheel drive, or the towing capacity, let's be honest, 90% of SUVs never leave tarmac. They're driven to Tesco and back. The raised ride height actually makes them less safe, with a higher center of gravity and longer stopping distances. Euro NCAP has repeatedly noted that SUVs pose a greater risk to pedestrians than lower-profile vehicles. You're not buying capability, you're buying marketing. Every car on this list can do the school run, the motorway commute, the holiday drive to Cornwall, and the weekly shop without breaking a sweat. The only thing they can't do is make you feel like you've spent a lot of money. And if that's what you're paying for, at least be honest about it. The automotive industry has spent 20 years convincing people they need an SUV. They've used clever marketing, lifestyle imagery, and the illusion of safety to push you into the most profitable vehicle segment they've ever created. SUV profit margins are substantially higher than hatchback margins. That's not conspiracy, that's publicly available manufacturer financial data. Your mechanic knows the truth. The smartest drivers in Britain are buying 5 to 8-year-old Japanese and Korean cars, keeping them for years and pocketing the difference. They're not doing it because they can't afford new, they're doing it because they can do basic arithmetic. And right now, the arithmetic says a £40,000 SUV is the single worst financial decision you can make in a car showroom. What would you do with an extra £4,000 a year? How long have you been driving a car that costs more to own than you realized? Which car on this list surprised you the most? Tell me in the comments, because every time someone in this community shares their experience, it helps another person avoid the same expensive mistake. I'm going to keep exposing the numbers the car industry doesn't want you to see. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out, because the next one might save you even more than this one.